Hey Jash, welcome to day 1000 by IndieFolio.
Hi, Gavan. Thanks for having me, man.
Your background is something a lot of founders would envy you. Getting on Shark Tank, raising millions of dollars, having a D2C company which is endorsed by celebrities, even invested by one, is a dream for many. I want you to first just introduce yourself to us, a little bit about you and what the brand does.
My name is Jash Shah, and I'm the co-founder and CEO at Getaway Desserts. Getaway Desserts is India's first guilt-free dessert brand, where we started with ice creams, and now we do a bunch of stuff ranging from ice creams to cheesecakes to Western classics like a tiramisu. Everything is proteinized, and everything is almost zero sugar or 50% less sugar across the portfolio. We believe that getting the right macros in the most indulgent desserts is the way to go, and get away from guilt was the thought, and that's how we started. We've been in the market since almost a little over 6 years now.
Fantastic. I want to take you back to 6 years ago when you probably were building this. The first 1,000 days, the first 3 years is the make or break time. Let's say on the first month when you probably built out a product and you wanted customers for it. I would like you to tell me when you had no budgets, no capital, how did you end up getting your first customers way back?
So it started with that thought, but it was not just for us, but when we took it to the gym, took it to friends, people started wanting to order it. And that's when we realized, okay, this can actually be a business. And why don't we go deeper into it? Why don't we understand more? So we did a bunch of events, did a bunch of pop ups before we even went to retailers. And then Instagram was something which was, I think this was back in 2018 when Reels wasn't even there. So it wasn't a discovery platform. However, we felt this is the only channel where we can kind of talk about it, get connected to people about. So we did that a lot, and I think the first 6 to 8 months was just about learning and unlearning, right? I would say we officially launched in 2019 around August, although we were there almost 9 months before that.
And what was the officiation part? Like, why wasn't it official 9 months before?
We didn't have a GST, we didn't have a PAN card, we didn't have any of those things. So it wasn't even when I call it quits, but yeah, I just think it was more formalized after a point, and yeah.
I think the legal entity name and when it kind of comes to be is really the
Legal
official.
entity name, you trademark it, you feel okay, now this is serious, you need to put in more hours, it's no longer a hobby. So I think
Correct.
that took us 9 months, but then in hindsight I look back and I think it was the right way to do it, because we realized what are the do's and don'ts properly before even getting into it full time.
Superb. I think, yeah, my insight here is start frugal. Don't leave your job. Do it as a project, a side gig,
Absolutely not, absolutely not.
and do it in a way where once you have a kind of a product, build distribution immediately. The faster you do
Right,
that, the better feedback you'll get. Ki jo kar rahe ho, is there a customer for it? But I have a
right.
follow up there for you, right, Josh? Understanding your customer is a easier said thing, easier done, right, than said.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in a category like yours, right? Let's say I am into B2B and I'm selling, creative services to brands. I can do a lot of segmentation there. But if I'm selling ice cream, one would think कि सबके लिए है, right? Maybe
Right.
health conscious के लिए है आपके लिए or whatever, but still a very broad audience. बच्चे से बूढ़े, everybody will have it. If I'm building a brand like this, which is for all, how do I actually go about understanding my customer in the first few months?
So I think what we kind of realized was that okay, ice cream is a good big market, to play within. However, we were trying to tap into a very, very extremely niche audience, right? People who are going to the gym primarily, who are trying to consume more protein. But quickly we realized that health is super subjective, and especially in India where people have different diets across the country and different demographics. We realized knowing what the person actually wants is going to be key, because we can probably subcategorize it into multiple diet classes and then become a healthy ice cream brand by saying okay, we do protein also, we do sugar also, we do vegan stuff also, and we do like multiple different diet classes of it. But what it gave us was the right macros in terms of building the product out. So imagine customers telling you talking to 100 200 customers and then realizing okay, these were the do's and these were the don'ts. These were the right things that the product should have, like must haves, and these were like optional things. And then build on from there, and then like you rightly said, right, distribute it, like feedback, you iterate it, and then keep doing that over and over again. And I feel it's not a one time process, it's a continuous process. Even today we realize how important it is to listen to our customers, because the customers who you're serving 6 years ago may not be the same customers we have today. So I think it is absolutely continuous that you have to keep on doing.
I think being close to your customers will never be a thing founders don't do.
I think most founders do get, even I got, derailed from that,
Mm.
raising funds and then just growing because my VC is, telling me to grow. I think everyone falls prey to that, but it's very important to realize the basics are key and just stick to that always.
It's a great segue for my next question, which is growth. Growth is demanded personally by us. I started this company to do something big. You raise capital, you have pressure, you have a big team, you have pressure, you have competition, you have pressure. So you really want to grow fast. And in this whole, um, you know, uh, chase of growth, you end up making a lot of mistakes, a lot of spends you regret, especially in their first 3 years. Could you unpack some regrets for us?
In the first 3 years, we as founders we'll always want to chase growth, right? And that growth comes at a cost of anything, honestly. That's the founder mindset, right? Because you just want to grow, you want more people to try your product, you want more repeats, you want more feedback. But I feel very initially there are several tools like meta ads, performance marketing, or even all platforms where you sell today. All marketplaces have a very heavy performance marketing spend typically. I feel don't use your money there. I mean, at least use little of your budgets there, but use more of your budgets on branding, getting connected to people. At first, we feel, okay, maybe I'll do like 10 events a month. How many people I'm going to be able to, touch? How many people are going to be able to try? Meta ads is better. Getting to sample maybe 100 people at once or 1,000 people at once. But I feel getting that personal feedback, being on the ground, talking to your customer, the first 3 years you can afford that. I don't think later you can. And I've seen most founders even shut shop after using a lot of VC money and putting money in performance marketing, putting money in things that are not branding related. Especially when it comes to consumer brands, you have to think about how you're getting your brand top of your mind recall, and that only comes with branding related activities and not typical performance marketing where you put money and you get a ROAS and you're happy. Oh, I'm getting a 3, 4, 5. It's just vanity. Right?
Absolutely. I feel it's a very mature thing to speak this way. And I also feel that the industry has also understood that sometimes this speed of 18 months, 21 months, 36 months growth is not the right metric in the first place. If you
And
just
see who
look at,
put that, right? Who put that? Who put 18 months in your mind? Who put 36 months? It's VCs, it's the venture capital ecosystem. And
yeah,
sorry to say, but it's really bad for founders who are trying to build a business. It's not business building, it's something else.
you're right. I think their IRRs is what I think they need to kind of, maintain.
Exactly. And very few investors, do realize that. And I feel to build a business, you don't need investors. You need customers. You need real customers. You need to understand your unit economics. You need to understand that your North Star metric should be EBITDA. Because by the end of the day, what are you doing here, right? You're to make money. You're to make okay, fine, empower people, employ people, give something good to customers, but you're not doing charity, right? First 3 years, I remember my father telling me every month I would speak to him on, okay, we grew this much, we did this, we did that, we are in this city now, we are in that city now. You tell me, अच्छा कितने पैसे बनाए? And I come from a Gujarati family, right? So I would say, नहीं अभी तो पैसे नहीं बन रहे, अभी तो we're losing money. And he's like, what are you even doing? कौन सिखा रहा तेरे को ये? मुझे मिला उससे. So I would be like, नहीं आपको शायद पापा नहीं पता. This is the way things have evolved. आपके टाइम में होता हो. But real businesses are built on fundamentals and on profits.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I've been building my company for 11 years and I went through a phase, a lot of regrets saying that, oh, you know, I've not succeeded yet because I didn't become a $1 billion company or I didn't, take investments from a venture capital or a PE because that was what success meant to me. I started this when I was 17 years old. So I was super young,
Right.
very naive. And this is 11 years ago. And I always felt that the metric is funding, the metric is, getting covered in, various places, etc. And then when I look back into, I'm also Gujarati, and I look back into my, community, my family, my relatives, they're doing really well, but they've been in the business for 30 years, 40 years. And,
Right.
after really starting young themselves, maybe in their 20s and giving it crazy amount of hard work for 10, 12 years is when they tasted success. And I think a
Absolutely.
lot of VC mentality just kills entrepreneurial mindset Because while VCs are great for maybe some ideas which genuinely are,
Right.
needing some amount of capital in a short period of time to capture the market, I think
Right.
99.99% of ideas don't need that. And you can still be an
Absolutely.
entrepreneur and be really
Absolutely.
successful. I think this Akshay Khanna clip is going very viral, where he says that, it's
Yeah.
not just that
Yeah.
you are successful because you're Shah Rukh Khan. You can be somebody
Correct.
making 150 crores, and having a great EBITDA positive net income and doing really well, most well
Right.
than anybody around you. So people should stop criticizing that. So really, really, I think you're echoing that mindset quite a lot.
And I think the problem is we're looking on the outside. Why are we looking on the outside? You've got to look within. Where were you 11 years ago? Where was I 7 years ago?
Correct.
We're better off than that, right? Our companies are better off than that. That's success.
Exactly. Exactly. I think, to sum up, I believe chasing growth before having your fundamentals right is, I think, a really common mistake. And I guess
Absolutely.
spending money on meta ads is definitely something you should avoid and build the brand.
I mean, depends on your category, right? But it's not one size fits all. That's why Meta Ads is making more money than Facebook. I mean, ads revenue is the maximum that any company is making today.
Yeah, I think we're just making, Mark Zuckerberg and Sundar Pichai richer instead
Yeah,
of, really making us or the customer feel value. Now that we spoke about, I think growing too fast and that being a regret, I want to now talk about picking up the right channels. So let's just say that, you're trying to get your fundamentals right, but you now want to double down. You're probably in the later part of your 1,000 days, right? Ki kuch bite hai. Now let me double down on it. Picking up your channel is, as we just have been discussing, very much around your category and your market and various things. And that's why you have to try to understand it. But the intention for me was to try and get some insight from your story, which could maybe help somebody building in your category or is in the same path
sure,
as you. How I would
sure.
like you to answer this for me is give me two things, right? One is start by telling me what's a overrated channel as per you and why. And then tell me what's an underrated channel of growth as per you and why.
Should be very subjective. We're talking about our business. We have very few channels compared to other consumer brands. I can't even think of going GT today. I need to have maybe, I don't even know the number, honestly, how
For the
much
people who
investment it
don't
would
know,
need.
just can you just take a little, tell me little bit about GT?
So GT is general trade, MT is modern trade. General trade is typically your kirana stores, super stores like category A, B, C stores, medical stores, which you see in and around your house, your vicinity, not just in metros, but also in tier one, tier two, tier three, and even tier four towns. Right? India is largely, I would say, 80 to 85% GT, where general trade is, you know, and this is not just ice cream, this is across categories. Modern trade would probably be 10, 11%. Quick commerce, e-commerce put together maybe again 10, 11%.
Hmm,
Um, quick commerce out of that is probably 3%. In fact, not even 3%. 1.5, 2%, which is poised to grow to 3% in the next 18 to 24 months.
hmm,
So imagine how big the market is.
correct.
And I feel talking about our category, I came from a retail background. I worked for Future Group. I worked in the modern trade, segment. I knew the nuances of how difficult it is to make money for brands in modern trade, and it's more of a visibility channel than a money making channel, and not just for our category, but across categories. I mean, if you're making say 15% EBITDA in GT, you're probably making 6-7% EBITDA in modern trade. I feel again, most important is to see how much money that channel can make and
Hmm,
then decide how much you want to double down on. Just because GT is vast and it's big and you feel, okay, I can be a small fish in a large pond, that might not cut it. GT has its own complexities. You have to not just talk to retailers, but distributors, super stockists, CNF agents, and it's a proper, supply chain model. For us, what worked was we wanted to be direct to customers. So we started with Instagram. We still have a very decent base on Instagram. We have like about 46,000 followers on Instagram. We tried to be there because that was easy access for us. Getting to 100 GT stores and putting the product there and hoping it may work, might not, was a cost. And not just a cost, but also a very operationally heavy experiment. So the natural fit for us was, ठीक है, online करते हैं पहले, Bombay, let's see how we do only selling by Instagram DMs, okay, not even a website.
hmm,
Then we built a website on it. Then COVID happened, website grew. Then we realized, यार ये तो operationally challenging है if you have to expand to more cities. So then we doubled down on cloud kitchens as a channel. So I think back in the day there was only Nick which was an ice cream brand who was setting up distribution via cloud kitchens. The idea was that set up a dark store or a cloud kitchen, whatever you can call it, keep like 6, 7 freezers, central manufacturing. All you need to do is stock those freezers and sell on Swiggy and Zomato. We realized that our Swiggy Zomato dark store would do business in a month which was equal to 12 to 13 GT stores, because we were supplying to only 13, 14 GT stores at that time. And it was an eye opener, right? Less effort, more output. I feel that is what you should, kind of think about when you want to double down on.
Fantastic.
Which is the least effort, which can have maximum output. Just double down on that until you get stronger in that and you maybe reach that plateau. And I think India is large enough that you don't ever reach a plateau. And then you switch your channel. So luckily for us, what happened in 22 was quick commerce came in. And on quick commerce, the idea was getting deliveries in 10 minutes. So Instamart was there, and then Zepto came in with this 10-minute thought. And then Blinkit, Grow First to Blinkit happened and they followed. So the ecosystem kind of uplifted it entirely and built this new channel out, because ice cream was a failing business when it came to modern trade. People don't go to a supermarket to buy ice cream in India. You go to maximum, a Kirana store, and you just pick up, an ice cream from the freezer of a Quality Walls, Amur or a Havmor. And it was purely, the distribution was the moat. Quick commerce came in and kind of leveled that playing field for all players and made it happen for brands like us to sell and be available in the same, imagine the same virtual freezer where a Quality Walls and an Amul is, and let the customer decide. So I think without quick commerce we wouldn't be where we are today. So big credit to these guys building it out, and the channel market fit worked out really well, and the product channel fit also, because getting ice cream in 10 minutes is definitely a thing. It's the second most sold category on quick commerce. So I feel we stayed long enough to see that channel develop, and yeah, now things are just growing, and I'm sure there's something next in the next couple of years.
Love the answer. I think you started by giving a framework and then talking about how to experiment based on that framework and then picking one and sticking to it. So absolutely love that. Thank you so much for answering those three questions. I have to ask you the most important one now as a parting thought, right? The hardest thing about the first 1,000 days is to actually go through it and continue to suffer, right? What's your advice for somebody who's built a successful brand, has raised capital, has been featured in some fantastic places, Shark Tank, Forbes, and whatnot? How do you really get through the grind of the first 1,000 days, and how do you have that resilience?
Yeah, honestly, I've thought of giving up a lot of times, right? In the first 1,000 days, I was always think, यार ये job ही अच्छी थी, decent पैसे मिल रहे थे, अच्छी growth हो रही थी. Looking at my peers, का लोग काम करे Google में, and people are working in top FMCGs. That thought will always be there, but I feel if you truly believe and if you truly feel you have the stamina for the long game, just show up, man. I think it's the simplest advice. uh 95% companies fail or shut shop and don't even reach the 10th year, and the 5% that do, 1% of them usually succeed. So the success rate goes up phenomenally if you just keep showing up for 10 years. And I feel if you have the stamina to do that, and if you have the liberty to kind of do that in your early 20s, everyone does, everyone's experimenting. And now that I'm 30, now that I'm married, I feel यार ये pet अब तो मैं ले ही नहीं सकता, मतलब कोई chance ही नहीं था, because then you think about your security, your family life, what you want to do in your 30 to 40s. So I feel experimentation 20 to 30 is just go in and just show up. I think that's.
Thank you so much, Jash. This has been incredible. I hope
No,
you had a good
thanks for
time.
having me.